A beautiful Tuesday afternoon at Clem Spillane Field in Wareham, Massachusetts. Welcome everybody to the Gatemen Baseball Network pregame show presented by South Coast Health. I'm Connor Federico, joined by Jacob Toby and Sam Corman, our Gatemen Baseball Network broadcasters. We're here for a great day of baseball action between the Hyannis Harbor Hawks and the Wareham Gatemen. The Gatemen, they've been on the road for most of the early part of the season. They just finally had their first off day yesterday. What do you think of the year so far for them?
Well, in review, it's just been okay. You know, that's sitting at 5-8. That's not too bad of a record, not too good either. But a lot of things could be better. What I'm looking to see is those complete pitching performances, top to bottom. You know, we've had a few games where one pitcher has been really, really good, but the rest of the staff has come in and kind of dismantled what's going on. It's happened to the starters a few times. It's happened out of the bullpen. So those complete pitching performances we've seen against Wareham many times this year. We've also seen in favor of the Gatemen a few times, especially in the second game of that doubleheader against Harwich 2 days ago, when you had Justin Montgomery come in with 5 beautiful innings and then a great relief outing by Frankie Bartow. So those complete pitching outings I'd like to see more of. Also, run support, of course, is very key. Scoring early on in ball games. They got 1 run in that first game against Harwich early on in the ball game, but they weren't ever able to mount anything after that. So getting on the board early and then kind of continuing it throughout the game. We've seen too many times the Gatemen kind of have 1-2 big innings, but they go up 1-2-3, 1-2-3, 1-2-3 to end the game. So hitting throughout ball games, consistent pitching, basically just consistency throughout the
That's all you can ask for, right? Consistency.
Yeah, of course. In any sport, consistency is just so key. So that's basically what I've seen so far from this 5-8 Gatemen roster.
Speaking of consistency, Jacob, the Gatemen have been consistently playing ball games. They haven't really gotten an off day yet. There was a rain out and then a rescheduled rain delay against the Harbor Hawks on what was supposed to be an off day. These guys are supposed to be playing 6 of every 7 days, so they just had their first real off day on Monday, yesterday. How do you think that helps them?
Well, every guy can get rejuvenated. Finally a day off comes. They can go to the beach, enjoy what is on Cape Cod, go to some nice restaurants, hang out, do some team bonding stuff. That is really good for the team, because you are here every single day at Spillane Field or at other ballparks practicing, working on your hitting, working on in the bullpen. Jim Lawler always has his pitchers, going through certain sets, certain motions to practice, in the bullpen, whatnot. So it's really good to have an off day. It's good for the whole organization just to take a nice little break for a second. We take a break as well. We do a lot of preparation as well. The team in total takes a day. We just reset, and it's a good day around the league. What stinks is that Bourne and Brewster had to play because they had 2 rainouts, unfortunately, because of the field not being ready to play, so they still had to play. But other than that, the whole rest of the league is set to go, and kind of a rejuvenation here as we head on to the second third of the season.
Before that off day yesterday, the Gatemen had 2 games on Sunday against the Harwich Mariners. Let's look at the highlights from those 2 teams. Both the Mariners and the Gatemen in 4th place in their respective divisions, and Joey Matulovic is the pitcher out on the mound for the Wareham Gatemen. He started the season with 9 innings scoreless, and he starts the top of the first right here with a strikeout of Ryan Ogren, the cleanup hitter for the Harwich Mariners. Moving ahead to the top of the second, he gives up his first run of the season. It's a home run by Brad Debo that goes off the pole out there in center field. Really difficult first run to give up for Matulovic, who had been stellar so far in the season. In the top of the third, Willie McIver hits a double, and then he comes all the way around to score himself on a stolen base of third and a passed ball that he takes on home right there. Here we go now. It's more trouble for Matulovic here in the top of the third. The Gatemen get the tie, but they give it away right here with a 2 RBI single for Kobe Vance. Andrew Morris and Travis Munoz come around to score, and it's a 3-1 lead for Harwich. Moving ahead, Riley Gates doing the pitching now, and this is going to be an RBI single for Max Burt out to left field, picked up by John Topa, but it allows Brad Debo to score his second run of the game, and the Gatemen drop this one by a score of 4-1. Moving ahead on to the second game, Luke Bonfield gets the scoring going for the Gatemen. He drives in Robbie Metz, who just beats the throw at home, and it allows Willie McIver to take third base. Nick D'Alessandro letting the ball get away from him there, the catcher for Harwich. He does it again right here as a check swing and another wild pitch and a passed ball. It allows McIver to score his second run of the day through a wild pitch. Now Justin Montgomery doing the dealing, a strike 3 call on Kyler Murray here in the top of the 5th. Montgomery was fantastic all day. He struck out nearly double digits. RBI base hit now, moving ahead to the 5th inning. Kyle Kasser drives in Nick Angelini. And later on in this inning, Kyle Kasser allows himself to come on and score anyway. At this point, the score goes 4-0 in favor of the Gatemen, and now Frankie Bartow coming in to close the door on the Mariners. He gets swinging strike 3, and that's how the game will end. It's a 1-1 tie on the day in the doubleheader between the Gatemen and the Mariners. So the Gatemen go 1-1 on Sunday against the Mariners. Both of those teams were probably looking for a clean sweep. Neither one of them ended up getting it, though, and they stick around in the cellars of the West and East Division specifically. The first game, Sam, it wasn't fantastic for the Gatemen. They give up a few sloppy runs. So what do you think were the themes of the day in the first game?
Well, they only scored 1 run, and I give, like I said on the post-game show on Sunday, I give a lot of the credit to that to Tyler Baum, the UNC pitcher, on the hill for the Harwich Mariners in that game. He went all 7 innings of that game, only gave up 4 hits, 9 strikeouts for Tyler Baum. He was very impressive, and the Gatemen were just kind of stunned by that impressive pitching. He was just blowing fastball after fastball after fastball right by the hitters. And but on the pitching side, there were a few positives for the Gatemen. Matulovic, not his best outing, but they got a good outing out of Grant Wolfram coming in, doing an inning of relief, didn't strike out any batters, but a good outing for Grant Wolfram in relief. We've been waiting to see that from him, and that was in the 7th inning. So that was a small positive out of there. Sloppy defense a little bit for the Gatemen. The Mariners were able to advance some runners into scoring position early on in the game off a third base error from Willie McIver, but you don't want to see that. But Willie McIver is such a good defensive player that we know that he'll take that and he'll use it as a tool to not repeat what he did in that game. So overall, I think the pitching of Harwich was really the reason that the Gatemen weren't able to succeed in that first game.
And the Gatemen did succeed in the second game, and we talk about pitching all the time on the Cape Cod Baseball League. This league is where the best pitchers are, and we saw Justin Montgomery shine in the second game.
Yeah, you take positives out of your 1-1 day. I mean, I call that a successful day. A doubleheader is really hard here on the Cape, 2 7-inning games, and you come out of that 1-1. I think that's pretty successful. You look at Justin Montgomery, 5 innings, 8 strikeouts. You saw in the highlights there. He was dominant. He had everyone swinging and missing. His slider was on point. We talked about it during the broadcast, how important his slider is, how important his fastball command is to him as well. We knew fastball coming in was going to be good. Was the slider there last game? Yes, it was there. So he did well. Another positive I take out of that game, Robbie Metz, 3 for 3, a run scored. You see him kind of get going. The returner from last year, you always like to see those guys get going again. So he was good as well. And some defensive changes. We saw Kyle Kasser playing his first game at third base. He was fine. And then Jake Anchia playing his first game at first base. No errors there as well. So all in all, a pretty successful day in that 1-1 outing.
The Gatemen will try to have a successful day, and we hope that they certainly do tonight against the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. On the other side of this break, we'll talk about the starting pitchers and the starting lineups for these two teams.
When you're sick or injured, you want care when and where it's convenient for you. South Coast Health Urgent Care has 4 locations: Fairhaven, Wareham, and now in Seekonk and Dartmouth. You can view wait times and even check in online at southcoast.org/urgentcare. Choose the time and location that's best for you. We'll even remind you when it's time to come in, and walk-ins are always welcome. Urgent care that exists to meet your needs. More than you expected? That's more than medicine. Check in at southcoast.org/urgentcare.
Welcome back to the Gatemen Pregame Show. I'm Claudia Chikamian with Ben Baird. So, Ben, you've been struggling a little bit to start off the season. On Sunday during the doubleheader, your family was here and you got that double. So what was it like getting to do so well in front of them?
It was just exciting, knowing that I had their support in the stands. And I know they're supporting me even when they're not here, but definitely felt good to get that one in front of them.
Does it feel like things are starting to click now as the season's been progressing?
Yeah, definitely starting to settle in a little bit, get more comfortable, less antsy up at the plate. Still working on some stuff, just excited to keep seeing where it takes me.
And what's the main thing that you've really been trying to work on, whether at the plate or defensively, that you kind of struggled a little bit with at Washington?
I think more than anything, just slowing myself down and trusting my ability, staying confident, staying calm, just not working myself up, not letting the moment get the better of me. So just staying calm under pressure.
Now, this is the Gatemen's 4th time seeing the Harbor Hawks. So what have you really learned from them that the team can really take into the field today?
Them, like every other team, pitches very well, plays defense well, swings it well. That's what you'll see out here. So game plan's pretty much the same as it is for facing any team. Just got to throw strikes and take advantage of opportunities at the plate.
Great. Thanks, Ben.
Thank you.
Back to you, Connor.
Thank you very much, Claudia. Just as a reminder, you can contact the Gatemen Baseball Network staff anytime by emailing pressbox@gatemen.org. Again, that's pressbox@gatemen.org. Feel free to follow us on social media at Wareham Gatemen on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud, and you're watching YouTube right now. I'm Connor Federico, and I'm back here with Matt Feld. And Matt, for the first time this season, we not finally, but it's the second week, and we've had a Gateman pitcher named Coca-Cola Pitcher of the Week in the Cape Cod Baseball League. It's Justin Montgomery, who went 9 scoreless this week, and that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, great. Really a nice accomplishment for Justin Montgomery out of Cal Baptist. He now has 12 scoreless innings on the year, only giving up 7 hits in those 12 scoreless innings, and his command has been really just terrific, especially his fastball command. He's done a nice job of mixing it with his changeup and with his curveball as well. He's got 14 strikeouts over those 12 innings. So not an overpowering pitcher, but really is great at keeping his pitch count down, being very efficient. I'm sure if this was a regular season game, in the fact that it was during the college baseball season, Montgomery would have gone 6, 7, or 8 innings the other day. But as we know, pitching coach Jim Lawler sticks to a strict pitch count, and he kept him at 5 innings, and Montgomery was terrific over those 5 innings.
He ended up getting the win in that game against Harwich anyway, and what does it do for the confidence of Montgomery and maybe for this whole team to get that sort of award?
Yeah, I think the pitching staff as a whole has been pretty good so far this year. I think it's better than the Gateman record would say it's been. I'd say that, they let up 4 runs in the first game of that doubleheader against Harwich, 5 runs the day before, and in both those games, a couple of botched bunts plays, so to speak, cost the Gateman 2 or 3 runs that could have changed the outcome of both those games. And overall, I'd say this Gateman staff has been pretty solid, and anytime you have a pitcher of the year, it's pretty cool. Last year, Gunnar Leger won Coca-Cola Pitcher of the Year, or Pitcher of the Week, I should say. Pitcher of the Year, we're getting ahead of ourselves here. So it's definitely very cool, and I think this week, with Justin Glover going tonight, Griffin Roberts should get another start in the next day or two. So the Gatemen have their bullets lined up, so to speak, as they try to, get back into the Western Division race.
Through the first week and a half of the season, the Gatemen had another pitcher who threw 9 scoreless innings, and that was Joey Matulovic. He ended up giving away 3 runs in the first couple of innings of the first game of the Harwich doubleheader on Sunday. So what can Montgomery do to take steps to avoid, giving up that scoreless streak?
Yeah, I think for the most part, Matulovic pitched pretty well the other day. He had some tough luck, including, as we said earlier, a botched bunt play and then the 2-run single on a blue play over Blake Sable's head at first base. So, bit of a tough luck for Matulovic there, but I think if Montgomery follows a similar blue play, Matulovic's command has been also very good all year, and if Montgomery can continue to keep the ball down, throw strike one, which as we know is very key, and just focus on getting ground balls. Matulovic has done a really nice job of that the other day. A couple of times he allowed the ball to get in the air, and it led to some problems for him. As long as he continues to induce those ground balls, and hopefully they don't turn into seeing eye singles, and Montgomery should be one of the better pitchers on the Cape League all summer.
Thank you very much, Matt. He's Matt Feld. I'm Connor Federico. You're watching the South Coast Health Gatemen pregame show. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
When you're sick or injured, you want care when and where it's convenient for you. South Coast Health Urgent Care has 4 locations: Fairhaven, Wareham, and now in Seekonk and Dartmouth. You can view wait times and even check in online at southcoast.org/urgentcare. Choose the time and location that's best for you. We'll even remind you when it's time to come in, and walk-ins are always welcome. Urgent care that exists to meet your needs. More than you expected? That's more than medicine. Check in at southcoast.org/urgentcare.
Welcome back to the Gatemen pregame show presented by South Coast Health. I'm Claudia Chakamian with pitching coach Jim Lawler. So first of all, how do you think your pitchers are feeling after getting that first off day yesterday?
Well, it really was really important, and what it does, it lets us regroup and get them all starting fresh again and get them all in order. And remember, still got some guys still coming in and some leaving, so it's sort of a constant battle on. I'd like to get a group of 5 that I can just keep rotating, and that's what we're trying to get to.
Speaking of that, Frank Conine just arrived today. He's inactive for today's game, but he'll be active soon. He was here last summer, so what are you really excited about him returning?
Well, number one, he's a great person, a great competitor, and he's really improved You know, he had 13, 14 saves for Cal State Fullerton this year, won all the way to the World Series. So his presence, but just a great person. He's a really good closer.
Now, Justin Glover is getting a start today. He's also been one of your very consistent starters in your rotation. So what do you really hope to see out of him today?
Well, again, he's done it twice for me now. You know, ideally, if he can get 5 innings and 50 pitches, would be great to give us start it right, and then we'll go to the bullpen.
Now, this is your 4th time seeing the Harbor Hawks this season. So what have you really noticed about their pitching and their hitting that your team can capitalize on today?
Well, number one, they got a good ball club, and number two, they still got some guys coming in, but I really like their club. We always have a dogfight with these guys. They're great coaches, and the players play hard, and it's fun to watch.
Great. Thanks, Coach.
Okay.
Back to you, Connor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Claudia. You're watching the Gatemen Pregame Show presented by South Coast Health. I'm Connor Federico. I've got Jacob Toby and Sam Corman right here sitting next to me. And guys, we have an exciting pitching matchup on deck today. For the Gatemen, it's Justin Glover, the guy out of Georgia.
Yeah, Justin Glover's been pretty impressive. Probably one of the best pitchers on this Gatemen pitching staff so far. He came in, he started that home opener against Falmouth, struck out 4 batters, went 5 scoreless innings. Unfortunately, did not get the win in that game because he didn't get any run support, but he got the win in his next appearance, which was that home win 11-3 against the Orleans Firebirds. Also another strong outing, went 3 innings in that game. So Justin Glover's been one of the most impressive guys on the mound out of Georgia for the Wareham Gatemen, and got that low 90s fastball, change-up and breaking ball, complements it pretty well. And one of the most interesting things is his Georgia coaching staff down in Athens compares him to Tom Glavine, which is one of the most impressive comparisons.
Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah.
Tom Glavine.
Yeah, that's some pretty high praise for Justin Glover down there in Georgia. In Georgia especially, where Tom Glavine is basically a hero. So
A god, per se.
I would expect, yes, honestly, one of the best pitchers in Braves history. I would expect another big outing from Justin Glover today here in front of the home crowd, which has made both his appearances in front of before today. So look for Justin Glover to get the hat trick on good appearances to start this season.
He's a lefty that hasn't seen this Hyannis lineup yet, but for Hyannis, the Harbor Hawks today, they have a righty going that this Gateman lineup has seen before and did pretty well against.
Oh, they did pretty well. They've scored, more than 7 runs. They scored 10 runs that game, more than 5 or 7 runs against Kevin Coulter, who's going to get the start today. Couldn't get out of the 5th inning last game here at Spillane Field. It was an onslaught, an offensive onslaught, which we saw there. He let up 4 earned runs. He did strike out 6 batters. He didn't walk anyone. His control was good, but he just let up a lot of base hits, and the Gatemen played a lot of small ball that game. So he's going to have a chip on his shoulder coming into this game here today and face this lineup for the 2nd time this season. So should be a fun one tonight.
All right, we've got the pitching matchup. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back on the Gatemen South Coast Health pregame.
When you're sick or injured, you want care when and where it's convenient for you. South Coast Health Urgent Care has 4 locations: Fairhaven, Wareham, and now in Seekonk and Dartmouth. You can view wait times and even check in online at southcoast.org/urgentcare. Choose the time and location that's best for you. We'll even remind you when it's time to come in, and walk-ins are always welcome. Urgent care that exists to meet your needs. More than you expected? That's more than medicine. Check in at southcoast.org/urgentcare.
Welcome back to the Gatemen Pregame Show presented by South Coast Health. That's Sam Corman, this is Jacob Toby, and I'm Connor Federico. Thank you so much for watching, and we're just about ready for first pitch here at Spillane Field. So, guys, the Harbor Hawks, they are 1-0 here, and they have some key players at the top of their lineup that they need to get going to maybe get another win.
Yeah, Reese Hampton, he's one of their table setters at the top of the lineup, batting 2nd today, was batting at number 1 spot for a couple games at the start of the season. He's 4th in the league in batting average, batting at a 420 clip, which is pretty good, and he's been very good against the Gatemen so far this season, so he has some speed on the base path as well. Watch out for Reese Hampton.
And the guy who replaced Hampton at the leadoff spot in the Harbor Hawks order, that's the guy that you're going to talk about right now.
Yeah, Jake Mangum got here from Mississippi State after his team fell in the College World Series regionals, and he's been incredible since getting here. He's only played 7 games. The first 5 games he played in, 5 consecutive multi-hit games, 2 hits each in those games, and he's just a guy that's just one of the best hitters in this league. Former Yankees draft pick this year, decided to come here to the Cape instead and return to Mississippi State next year. He's a 2016 SEC Freshman of the Year at over 400 batting average, and he just adds so much to this Hyannis Harbor Hawks batting order that it really didn't have much explosiveness before Jake Mangum and some other guys got into the lineup. And with him there at the top of the lineup, it's just a huge weapon to add. It's not just another weapon; it's like the weapon for this Hyannis Harbor Hawks getting here late. Played for the Bourne Braves last year. Kind of interesting going to another Western Division rival. So
and he killed the Gatemen. He hit a walk-off shot, back last season against the Gatemen. So he knows how to play against Wareham.
He also hit 300 for the Bourne Braves in 35 games, which we know in this league 280 is a phenomenal batting average. 300 out of this world. So Jake Mangum is my player to watch undisputedly for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks today.
All right, so we just talked about the great top of the order for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, and what does Justin Glover and the rest of this pitching staff for the Gatemen have to do today to shut them down? What's the key for them?
First pitch strikes. I mean, we saw it. Justin Glover is a first pitch strike guy. If he sets the table early, he can knock this lineup down. This lineup for Hyannis has been really hot. The last 4 games, they've scored 29 runs. Through the first 7, they scored 30 runs overall. So they are on absolute fire right now, as we say in Spanish, en fuego. So you have to shut that lineup down if you're Justin Glover. And if guys come out of the bullpen tonight, make sure you stop the top of the lineup, because once they get going, there's no match for it. It's a great offense.
What's your key to the game for the Gatemen offense on the other side?
Yeah, my key is to knock out Kevin Coulter of this game pretty early, and that can be done just by scoring a few runs on him first, second, third inning. And we've seen the Gatemen, they've been able to do that. That middle of the lineup, pretty explosive. Tristan Pompey, Willie McIver at the 3-4 hole, and plenty of other guys surrounding them that can get those big hits off of Kevin Coulter, knock him out early. And once you do that, you force their bullpen to scramble a little bit. They might have to put a bullpen pitcher out there for 3-4 innings. That's normally not comfortable going that long. And if they can do that, they're in good shape against the Harbor Hawks today. We've seen the Gatemen score 11 runs against this pitching staff, so to do that again would be pretty good for the Gatemen. Get on the board early is my key.
All right, guys, we're just about ready for first pitch. You've been watching the Gatemen pregame show presented by South Coast Health. We want to thank you very much for watching today. You can now head over to our YouTube live page where the game will start in just about any moment. We're just about ready for first pitch between the Harbor Hawks and the Wareham Gatemen.